Yesterday, we got two pretty big Marvel trailers, one from the MCU for the second season of What If, and one for the Sony Spider-Verse Madam Web movie. And the internet is obviously more excited for one of these than the other. So we'll start off with the more interesting one as well. That is season 2 of Marvel's What If, which is slated to premiere December 22nd. But instead of dropping an episode every week like they did with the Loki series, or dropping all the episodes at once like they're planning on doing with Echo coming up, they're actually going to drop an episode per night for 9 nights in a row. So that comes out to 9 episodes. I'm actually really excited for this sort of release schedule. It's going to be fun to have a new episode to look forward to every night for that Christmas holiday. And they actually released the episode titles as well. Episode 1 is What If Nebula Joined the Nova Corps. Episode 2 is What If Peter Quill Attacked Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Episode 3 is What If Happy Hogan Saved Christmas, which is going to be dropping Christmas Eve. Episode 4 is What If Iron Man Crashed into the Grandmaster. Episode 5 is What If Captain Carter Fought the Hydra Stomper. Episode 6 is What If the Avengers Assembled in 1602, which appears to be drawing inspiration from Neil Gaiman's 1602 miniseries, so that's interesting. Episode 7 is What If Hela Found the Ten Rings. Episode 8 is What If Kaori Reshaped the World. And episode 9 is What If Supreme Strange Intervened. The trailer was a lot of fun, and it did a really great job, in my opinion, of getting the internet excited for the upcoming season. What If is a really great way for Marvel to tell creative, fun, and innovative stories with the MCU characters that everyone loves that aren't beholden to all of the lore and interconnectivity of the movies, in my opinion. And now, one of the more interesting things that we got out of the trailer is that we're getting the first appearance of a brand new original character that was created specifically for What If Season 2. She has not appeared in the comics before at all. This is a new character, and her name is Kaori. Now, according to Marvel's official website, What If asks what would happen if the Tesseract fell to Earth and landed in the sovereign Haudenosaunee Confederacy before the colonization of America. The Tesseract takes on a new life and a new mythology, transforming a lake into a gateway to the stars and leading Kaori, a young Mohawk woman, on a quest to discover her power. Now, I really like the concept for this character, and I hope she's well received and gets fleshed out more, maybe in future comics, or maybe even a live action Disney Plus or even movie appearance in the future. Native Americans aren't very well represented in the superhero medium. There aren't a lot of really popular Native American characters. We're getting the Echo series coming up here in a few weeks, and actually a couple weeks, but not a lot of people were looking forward to that until they put Kingpin and Daredevil in the trailer and made that trailer rated R. Then everybody got excited for it, but nobody was talking about the Echo series. And she's one of the Native American Marvel heroes. There aren't a lot of them, so it's really cool to see a character like this get some shine. And the concept is really interesting too. The Tesseract landing in this Native American Haudenosaunee colony, and them becoming this kind of superpower and having a superhero rise up in the midst of that. It's sort of like how the vibranium landed in Wakanda, and then the Wakandans became really powerful and sophisticated society after that, and really technologically more advanced than a lot of Western societies. So she's kind of like a Native American Black Panther in that way, although she's probably going to be more powerful because she's powered by the Tesseract. So I think it's a really interesting concept for a character, and I'm really interested to see what they do with the character moving forward. In the trailer, we also see the return of Supreme Strange, and the last episode of season 2 is titled What If Supreme Strange Intervened? So that's an interesting title there, and it appears that somehow he found his way out of the little trap that he was in season 1. So it's going to be interesting to see how that happened and what exactly he's intervening for. Personally, I think we're going to see a little bit of a heel turn for Supreme Strange. I don't think he's going to be a complete on hero, but I think that he is going to team up with the heroes probably to stop a greater threat to the multiverse as a whole. But I still think he's going to be a little bit more on the bad side, maybe like an anti-hero. Um, We also get some cool shots in the trailer of the 1980s Avengers team, which seems to consist of Ant-Man, Giant Man, Black Panther, Marvel, and Winter Soldier, and Thor as well. And they look like they're going to be fighting a child version of Peter Quill, who seems to be a full-on Celestial. So it seems like he got the full powers of his father Ego, the Celestial planet. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be a really interesting episode to see. And it's going to be really cool to see the 1980s version of the Avengers, which I think you would assume would have the original white Nick Fury in it. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. We also get a great shot of Hela looking like a boss in the trailer, and the episode is What If She Got the 10 Rings, which is going to be really cool. We see a really cool shot of Hela and Wenwu with the 10 rings fighting against what appears to be Odin attacking the Earth. So that's going to be interesting. There's a really great shot of Wanda showing off her power. And apparently they're pulling, like I said before, they're pulling inspiration from Neil Gaiman's 1602 miniseries, which had superheroes manifesting in the 1600s instead of the 20th century like they normally did. And so this Wanda is going to apparently be a variant that is the Merlin of her time, which sounds awesome. It's a really cool concept for Wanda. We also see a Twisted Metal Mad Max Fury Road Mario Kart type scene with a bunch of characters, seemingly on Sakaar. That includes Valkyrie, the Grandmaster, who gives a little wink to his statue, a really funny moment there, and then also Korg, among other characters. So that was a really funny scene in the trailer. There's also a really awesome scene of Thanos and Captain America fighting each other. Apparently, we're going to get a rematch of their fight from Infinity War when he was trying to get the stones off of Thanos. So that's going to be interesting. There's also a cool shot of the Hulk, who has an unkempt beard and hair, and apparently that's from the 1602 episode as well. And so it's funny to see the Hulk with the beard. In the most recent run of the Hulk, actually, they've turned him into more of a classic horror style monster. So I'm hoping they kind of go that route in this 1602 episode, where he's kind of like more like a horror style monster, and he's got that unkempt beard and hair, and he's just kind of going on a rampage, because we've never really seen that version of the Hulk in the MCU. Think that'd be interesting to see. There's also a few cool more shots like Rocket Raccoon with a giant laser gun on his shoulder. But the trailer ends with Happy Hogan crawling through the vents of Avengers Tower, which is obviously an homage to John McClane in Die Hard when he was going through the vents. And Happy Hogan is calling Darcy, asking for help, letting her know the Avengers Tower is under attack. And she's making references to older movies from the 80s, trying to remember the title for Die Hard. And then Happy Hogan says, "Get it together, John McClane." So that was a little funny scene as well at the end of the trailer. And that Christmas episode, or Christmas Eve episode, looks like it's going to be a lot of fun as well. So overall, I'm pretty excited for What If Season 2. I think it's going to be a nice, refreshing change of pace for the MCU. Now, unfortunately, what doesn't look like a change of pace at all is the Madam Web trailer that we got. It seems par for the course for these Sony projects. Now, if you're not familiar with the character of Madam Web, she is a psychic, telepathic character who is essentially connected to the web that connects all the Spider-Man variants. So she's able to communicate with a lot of the Spider-Man variants throughout the multiverse, and she's kind of that connective tissue with the Spider-Verse. Now, you might be familiar with her if you watched the 90s animated series. There was an arc with her, that really prominent arc with in that series with her. And in the comics, she's usually an older woman, and she was also an older woman as well in the animated series. So it's interesting to see her played by Dakota Johnson of 50 Shades of Grey fame here, in a more, which seems like a more action hero style role for her. Which is really interesting. I mean, Helen Mirren was just in Shazam 2 a few months ago, so we know that she's not averse to playing superhero roles. I think that Helen Mirren would have been a really awesome choice for Madam Web, and then her being sort of a mentor to Sydney Sweeney's Spider Girl, or Spider Woman character, rather, sorry. I think that would have been a more interesting dynamic than having this sort of action hero style of Madam Web, but we'll see when the movie comes out if it works or not. But the trailer, or the teaser as they're calling it, even though it's like a 3 minute long teaser, so it's really a trailer, it didn't really do as well of a job as What If Season Two's trailer to get people on the internet excited. A lot of people online are saying that it looks like a budget CW version of the Spider-Verse, which is not a compliment. I wouldn't go as far as to say it looks like the CW Spider-Verse, but it's definitely close. It's towing that line. Now, I really want to like this movie personally because I like everyone involved. I like the actresses. It's a really great group of actresses. Sydney Sweeney is obviously really popular. Dakota Johnson is a good actress. She can be a little wooden at times, but I think overall she has a lot of potential. Even though I wanted it to be an older Madam Web, but Sydney Sweeney is a great actress. The actress in this, the other actress, she is going to be in Hawkgirl in the DCU, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how she does in the movie. So overall, I really want to like this movie, but it's looking very generic and Sony-esque. And Sony definitely needs to re-earn our trust after Venom 2 and Morbius. One positive that I do have is that the villain, Ezekiel Sims, I think he looks pretty menacing in the trailer, and I'm not as down on the costume as a lot of other people are. I think that they'll probably clean it up a little bit more. This is a teaser, so once we get closer to the actual movie, they'll probably clean it up a little bit more, I'm sure. A lot of people don't like the costume, the spider costume that he has. And I also really like what the little bit of what we saw of Sydney Sweeney's Spider-Woman costume as well. I thought it was very accurate to the comics. And I thought it looked really good in action as well. So we'll see how it turns out. But the bar for Sony is really low right now. So, what did you think of those two Marvel trailers that dropped yesterday? Are you excited at all for Sony's Madam Web? I really want to like it personally, but I'm going into it with bated breath and low expectations. And what do you think your favorite episode of What If Season 2 is going to be? What looks like the most interesting episode or your favorite moment from the trailer? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more comic book and pop culture talk. And I will see y'all another day.